you told me that 1998 there was quite a brawl between the Orioles and the Yankees.
Yeah,
you were on
well, you have to remember, you go back to the last dynasty, and the last dynasty is the Yankees, who won 3 World Series in a row, went to 5 out of 6 or something crazy like that. And our biggest rivalry when you got into the late 90s and early 2000s was the Red Sox. They had Big Papi, you had Josh Beckett, you had all these, so you had Pedro Martinez was at the best, possibly the best pitcher I've ever seen when he was a Red Sox, just absolutely filthy. Couldn't really beat us, but we would beat him 2-1, 1-0.
Wow.
But that wasn't the rivalry when this started. Was in 1996, 1997, 1998. You look back at those teams, you say, well, the Yankees were the highest payroll. No, they weren't. The highest payroll was the Baltimore Orioles.
Wow.
And, they were good for a couple years there, and we had a real rivalry, and they had a closer by the name of Armando Benitez. And Armando was about 3 sheets crazy. He wasn't all there. I ended up playing with Armando with the Mets a few years later. And a lot of times if you hit him hard, something would disconnect and he's going to hit the next guy. And that's what happened.
Wow.
So it's a save opportunity late in the game. And who was it? Bernie Williams.
Wow.
Hits a 3-run home run, upper deck in Yankee Stadium, crushes a slider, and Armando loses it. Well, the next hitter, unfortunately for Tino, was Tino Martinez. Well, he didn't do anything, and he wears about a 98-mile-an-hour fastball right in between the 2 and 4. His number is 24.
Oh.
And then Armando actually tosses his glove aside, puts his hands up, and he calls out our bullpen. Our bench. He says, come on, if you want to get some, come and get it.
Wow.
And this brawl ended up lasting for a good 6 or 7 minutes.
Wow.
It went from on the field, it went into the visiting dugout. There were many, many, many punches thrown. It was crazy.
Mike,
really
how many
crazy.
punches did you get in there?
I didn't throw. Well, there was one I threw, but there was another one. As soon as I kind of fell, and then I stood up. And when I stood up, somebody grabbed me from behind.
Mm-hmm.
And it was Chris Hoyles. Well, I didn't know at the time. Now all of a sudden, my motor's going. I'm good, and I get him off of me, and then as soon as I get him off of me, somebody else grabs me.
Wow!
And it's a guy, and he was holding his hands in front of me like this, and I'm like, okay, I'm ripping the finger off. I grabbed the next finger, and I went to go like this. And then I recognized the voice, and the voice was in my ear. And he's like, Mike, man, just calm down. Just calm down. It was Doug Drabeck.
Wow.
Yeah. And I knew Doug back from his Pittsburgh days when I was with Atlanta. So that just immediately kind of got me back under control.
Wow. There you go.
But yeah. So I was actually pitching. When the brawl happened, I was on the bench. We were in between innings, and then I had to figure out a way to go back out there after all that adrenaline burst and still get hitters out.
So Mike's like, who do I hit next?
well, at that time, everybody was warned. Everybody was thrown out.
Right.
It was pretty man. You can actually find it. Go to YouTube, and you can look up, Yankees, Orioles. I think it was in '98 Brawl, and it'll come up. And
definitely.
Yeah. There's a second part. I know we're getting long here. There's a second part to this story. A few weeks later. That was in Yankee Stadium. A few weeks later, we go to Baltimore. Well, they don't tell anybody, but there were warnings at the beginning of the game.